Hi, I'm Eleanor from Refuge Design Workshop. In these videos, I invite you to see spaces through a designer's lens, to notice the details and choices that make a space not just beautiful, but livable. Today, we're taking a closer look at a house in the Philippines designed by the master of minimalism, John Pawson. He calls the house Philippines House. And what makes John Pawson such a master of minimalism is that it's not what he takes away, it's the space and the way he creates an emotion with almost nothing at all. This isn't about minimal furniture or empty rooms. It's about how the architecture itself creates the space inside. And this is always the case, but here we're seeing how thoughtful attention to the way the architecture works with the environment can really affect the way the spaces feel. And you'll see how this architecture in particular becomes the interior design by creating spaces that transform and breathe and shift with the light as it changes throughout the day. John Pawson uses pure geometry, so to speak, to create emotional impact. So throughout this house, notice that he works with just two shapes, the square and the rectangle. And these simple forms create extraordinary spaces. It's a lot of drama for such simple shapes. Notice the screens. So there's perfect squares that filter light from the outside, which is going to be really hot. This is a tropical climate. You want these screens as a way to create some buffer for the light, which transmits heat. So using these necessary screens to also bring shape and effect into the house. We'll see how the shapes become patterns on the walls. As the earth moves around the sun, these shadows become living artwork. The changing character of the interior spaces is part of the living, breathing experience of the home. The house was conceived as a modern interpretation of the hortus conclusus, which is an enclosed garden or an enclosed courtyard. And the enclosed garden idea originated with the medieval monasteries. And so when you organize a space around a protected courtyard, you have the benefit of bringing cooler air. You have a natural cooling effect that gets drawn into the house. And meanwhile, for Pawson, this also will create what he calls instinctive patterns of movement throughout the house. As we move through these spaces, we see how the light becomes as important as any other design choice. And instead of having the glaring, hot tropical sun creating a hot spot on the wall, these screens gentle the light. It creates a soft pattern, breaking up that light and shifting it across the wall as the day progresses. So these shadows aren't just the absence of light, they're positive elements. They bring weight, they bring texture to the minimalist walls. And yes, by that we mean no artwork on the walls. Notice also the courtyard outside the bedroom, the single tree, a very dramatic gesture, bringing an organic element into view. The leaves create another layer of shadow patterns as well, depending on where the sun is. So it's softer, more organic than the geometric screens. And this combination ensures that the interior space never feels static and never feels sterile. What Pawson understands better than perhaps any other designer is that emptiness isn't empty. In the house, this absence of visual clutter allows you to experience it more completely. You feel a better sense of your connectedness to the space, to the elements, and to all things. And this is actually the nature of emptiness. When we see things are truly empty, we see the radical interconnectedness of things. And I love how that's expressed in this house. Without furniture competing for attention, you notice how the spatial language is speaking to you all the time. So some rooms will embrace you more intimately. Other rooms are going to expand out, giving you a much wider view and sense of spaciousness. And so without the decorative objects, light and shadow become the primary source of visual interest, and that is going to create an incredible sense of calm. John Pawson's Philippines house really shows you the true potential of minimalism, which isn't the absence of everything. It's the presence of everything. It's the presence of something greater than the visual clutter of your objects. It's the light, it's the air, it's the shadow, it's the elements around you. Thanks for joining me for this closer look at how architecture can shape interior design. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another space that shows how thoughtful design can transform your experience. Meanwhile, I'd love to hear from you. What aspect of Pawson's approach to light and space resonate with you most? Until next time.